Hi, welcome back. This is the fourth in this Rhino 8 series of kind of basic instructions, and this time we're going to look at some kind of line and curve editing, but also introduce some of the surface commands, including SurfaceFromPlanarCurves. We've got ExtrudeCrv, ExtrudeSrf, and FlowAlong, which allows you to kind of transfer a shape to another shape and then use that very accurate imprint to kind of cut into other surfaces. So really cool command, that one. Okay, so starting off with the small object millimeters template. So the grid is every 1 millimeter and the major grid is every 10 millimeters and snap spacing 1 millimeter. Okay, so a wee bit of drawing first in the top viewport. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a simple line, and we're on the default layer. Okay, just a single line. Okay, let's put our grid snap on and the O snaps off. Okay, I'm just going to start here. So we're at 1010. Okay, and I'll make this, let's go 60 along. Okay, enter. Okay, so that's single line. Let's draw a polyline this time. Okay, and if you start one whole grid cell above, okay, and then we're just using the grid snap to create a kind of a letter S, kind of stretched out letter S. Okay, so we've got a polyline here and individual line here. Okay, so say we want to join these together. So I'm purposely going to draw this badly. Okay, so let's go in and I'll put my object snaps on, and I'm going to turn the grid snap off now. So all I've got on is endpoint active. So I'm going to draw from this endpoint, but I'm not going to go to the end of the line. I'm just going to miss it slightly, and then press enter. Okay, now from a distance it might look like it's accurate, but close up we know it's not. But what we want to do here is join these bits on to this letter S. So try the join command and see what happens. I'm going to zoom in fairly close. Just watch what the command does. It's pretty clever. Okay, so we want to join this line to this one, and it says, "Ahoy, there's a gap between these. Do you still want to continue?" And go, well, okay then. So just watch what happens to the two lines. Okay, and it's saying enter when done. There we go. So you see it kind of pulled them together. It found like the halfway point between the two. So it's knocked this one off. It's knocked this one off horizontal, and it's pulled this one a wee bit further around. Okay, so be really careful with Rhino. The accuracy is really important. A lot of the commands won't work if things aren't accurate. Okay, so if we want to tidy this up, we can just click on that line. We can take the control point, and it will snap. Using the object snaps, it will snap into place. Okay, so let's try the join again, and we'll start with the big object. Okay, and then you have to add bits sequentially. So I can't go across to this one. Okay, I need to go to this one next, then this one. Then press enter, because I don't want anything else. Okay, and that gives us our full shape. Okay, joint is really handy, it works really well, as long as things are drawn accurately. So let's introduce an editing command now. Let's offset this shape. Okay, so offset, start writing it. There's quite a few offsets here for surfaces as well. So the standard offset is to do with lines and curves. Okay, there's quite a few options in here. So let's choose a few of these. So the distance of 20 would be much too much, because that's 10. So if we'd collapse on ourselves if we did 20. So let's maybe just do, say, 3, a distance of 3 millimeters. Okay, corners, let's introduce rounded corners. Okay, trimming means it's going to tidy things up when it does it, which is very handy. So usually that's kept on. Okay, but we'll allow it to go to both sides. Okay, and cap. So when it gets to an end of a line, what is it going to do? So cap, we can have round as well. Okay, so 4 options in there. So now it's still waiting for us to pick the curve. So it's this one, take it outwards and pick again. So, you know, that's quite a complicated shape. That would be a fair bit of filleting and the likes to achieve that shape. So let's drop this onto the purple layer. Okay, so click it once, then come down to here and choose layer 2. Okay, so you click the word so it goes onto the layer, and then either escape or click off it. Okay, so we've got our offsetted shape, all closed. So because it's a closed shape, we can do all sorts of stuff with that now. Okay, so I'd like you to copy this to the side. So we'll use the copy command, pick the shape, enter. Now if I put ortho on, I can copy it sideways in line with itself. Okay, so if I put ortho on and I just want to do the eyeball this distance, it doesn't have to be any specific distance, so we're just dragging it to the side. Okay, if we want to do more copies I can, but one's enough just now, so I'll just press enter. Okay, then what we'll do is rotate this so it's going upwards. Okay, so the rotate command is here, pick the object, enter. Base point, you know, we're looking for something in the middle of the object, it helps. Okay, so we'll pick roughly a position in the middle here, and then we've got ortho on, so this is going to help because we want to do a 90-degree rotation. So you set a kind of a baseline for the rotation, so this is just dragging out to the right. Okay, and then if we pull round, you can see the angle. Because we've got ortho on, it's jumping to 90, but if we didn't have ortho on, it would be much freer. Okay, but with ortho on, drag round for 90 and click. Okay, I think I mentioned in a previous video that if you just want to move something just by eye, then switch off the object snaps, just click on the object and just pull it into position. Okay, let's have a look now at the perspective view, so we can see kind of what happens in here. Okay, now I'm going to create my surfaces on the green layer. Excuse me. So I'm going to make that the current layer, and what we've got here is a planar shape. Everything is at the same level. There is no parts of this tilted upwards. Okay, if I click on the object and maybe select some of these control points, okay, and if I go to one of my other views and try and find those control points, the ones that are selected, okay, if I move those upwards, just those 5 control points, okay, I'm holding shift, okay, we've now got a non-planar object because some of the parts, or just even one corner or one point, is higher than the others. Okay, so that is non-planar now. Does Control Z to put it back. Okay, so if it is a planar object, we can use a really handy command that's on the Surface Tools ribbon. Okay, it's SurfaceFromPlanarCurves. Okay, we click this, then press enter. Okay, and you can see that we've got these lines across it now. These are kind of ISO lines. They're good indicators that there's a surface here. Okay, just shade it just to make sure it's done something. So we'll use the silver shade. So middle mouse button, left click, and we've got a surface. Middle mouse, right click the silver one, back to where it is. Okay, so I'd like to copy this again another 2 times. Or do we need 3 times? Let's go 3 times, yeah. So we don't have copy available on this toolbar, so just nip back to standard, copy, grab both of these items. So you're using a crossing window. Okay, go from right to left, enter, and I will put ortho on just now just to keep them in line with each other. And so that's 1, 2, and we need a wee bit more space here, 3. Enter to stop. Okay, let's have a look at the second item. Okay, now I'm going to delete the surface, so we've just got the shape again. Okay, and we'll do ExtrudeCrv. It's a very commonly used command. Okay, you pick a curve, which is this, enter, and we've got options here to go to both sides, so it would go up and it would go down. Okay, the output is going to be a surface or a sub D. We want surface. Solid no means it won't put a lid on the object. Okay, solid yes puts a lid on. You can see there's the ISO lines have appeared again. Okay, delete input no means we'll still have the purple curve left behind. Okay, how about height then? So let's say we'll do this one 40 high. Okay, so it's extrusion distance, okay, 40. Okay, let's shade it, see what we've got. Okay, so it's solid, top and bottom, it's a solid object. If I inquire on the properties of this, you can see we've got a closed extrusion, so that's going to behave nicely, no gaps. 3D printable, no problem. Okay, for this next one, let's do ExtrudeSrf, extrude surface. Okay, so it works in a pretty similar way. So extrude, but SRF. So this time we're picking the green shape. Okay, so instead of the purple line, this is the surface. Okay, again, we've got the options here, both sides. No, solid, yes. Delete input, no. Would still be left with the surface. So here we might actually say delete input, yes. Otherwise we're going to have a duplicate kind of base for the object. So let's set this to just say 20 high instead. Okay, so the end result there is pretty much identical, but you can see there is a little bit of difference. It's added the ISO lines onto the radiuses on the corner as well, so it does look a tiny bit different to the previous one, but it will behave exactly the same. So, but the description there is a closed poly surface, whereas this one was a closed extrusion. Okay, but as far as behavior with other commands, they will work exactly the same. Okay, what we're going to do now is chop this one in half. Okay, the same operation would work with either of them. So what we're going to do is draw a line on the ground that cuts right the way through this object. So remember, it's the, if I click here, we can see which one we're going to chop. So let's get in a bit closer and just draw a regular line. Okay, so right click this. Doesn't have to be anywhere in particular, but make sure it does go right the way through the object. It's trying to pick point to point, it sometimes doesn't split the object very well. So I'm just going to pick, let's go this direction, ortho off, and we'll just take it on a diagonal and enter to stop. So that's going to be our blade, like our guillotine. Okay, and this operation is best done in this view, from top down. Okay, so the command to use is split. Okay, we're going to split the poly surface, sorry, the extrusion. So we get the choice here because there's a curve under there as well. So this one's the extrusion, this one was the poly surface. So splitting the extrusion. Okay, so we don't want to pick any more objects, so we press enter. And the cutting object is going to be this diagonal line. Click that once and enter. Okay, it doesn't look much different from here, but there's a slight thickening of the line here. Okay, have a look in 3D because it's a bit more interesting to see what happens. Okay, so we've now got multiple portions of this object, and because we're losing the connection really, that's why we end up with 4 on this side and 2 on this side. But if you delete these, just delete those 2. Okay, you see it hasn't closed the shape. Okay, it's just done a real slice through it. Okay, so to fill those in, you can use the cap command. So select the objects to cap, so holding shift and then press enter. Okay, but they are still separate, and there we go. So now doing that edit on it, this has become a closed poly surface now, so it's changed its kind of status slightly. So it was a closed extrusion, now it's a closed poly surface, but like I say, it will behave exactly the same. So a couple of neat commands there. Split, extremely useful, but as I say, I tend to find it behaves really well if you do your splits in the top view. If you try and do them in perspective views or other directions, it tends to not happen, tends to fail. Okay, right, what we're going to do with the last one, we'll come back to this, and I want to create a surface to put this onto. So if you go back now and make the black layer current again, and we'll look down from the top just above here. So we'll look in this area. So I don't want to make it huge, and I want to make it roughly the same kind of width as what we've got here. So this time we're going to draw a couple of control point curves. Okay, now select the command, so left click, and we'll put our grid snap on initially. So we'll go from the y-axis. Okay, and if you pick 4 grid lines along, pick again, and then another 4 grid lines along, pick again, and enter. Okay, so to all intents and purposes that looks like a normal line, but when you click it you'll see there is a control point in the middle. Okay, let's have a look, see what it says about the properties there. It just says open curve, but that's the same as this, an open curve. Okay, but this has a bit more capability because that control point can give you curvature to this. So if you click on that, sorry, try that again, just click on the line and then click on the control point just once to bring it to life, and now click and hold on it and we can drag it up. So we're kind of adding some bend to this, and this is a tangent, and that is a tangent now. Okay, so that's one curve. Now could you draw another one, but this time pick 4 points instead of 3, and we're going to make them a fair bit different. So I'm going to go from this position across 2, up 3, okay, across 4, and then down 3, across 2, then press enter. Okay, so it looks fairly similar, but this one has got more control points. Okay, so it's tangent here, but this determines the curvature, tangent there, and this one determines the curvature. So it's kind of fairly complicated. Okay, so these are control point curves, and we're going to move one of these upwards. Okay, and just press escape to get rid of those guides, sorry, those control points. And what we'll do is we'll we'll kind of pull this one so it goes right the way through this one. So just take that control point and pull it up. Okay, keep going, pull it up again. So we just want this one to be quite different in shape to the previous one. So what we're going to do is lift this one. We're going to put this one up in the air. So if we look in the perspective view, okay, and I just want to know the height of this. Okay, so I'm just going to measure it. We can use distance command, and we'll put our O snaps on, and I just want to know the distance from here to here. Okay, so I'm interested in the Y distance there. The distance Y is 66. Okay, so if we lift this up by 100, we'll have plenty of space for this to go in, and it will look reasonably similar in proportions. Okay, so we'll go for the move command, pick this curve, enter. I want to move it vertically. I can pick a point anywhere. Okay, so see the movement is controlled. It won't move anything apart from vertically. Okay, and I said 100 millimeters. Okay, it's locked now at 100. It's just waiting for me to left click. Okay, so we've got our curves. They're still, when we look down on it in plan, they're still in the same position, but we've elevated this one. Okay, so surfaces are going to go onto the green layer, so we'll make that current again. And we're going to loft this time, so another new command. Okay, I'm going to intentionally loft this badly. Okay, so LOFT, enter. I'm going to pick near the end of this curve at the bottom, but near the other end of this one. Then press enter. And you get, oh, we've got this kind of butterfly type effect, a kind of crossover. So that's not good. Okay, looks quite interesting, but it's not what we want. Okay, so imagine there's a halfway line between on these curves. When you do the loft, you need to be in the same half of the curve. Okay, on the surface tools, the loft command is just here. Okay, so it's loft. Okay, pick near the end, enter. The shape looks much cleaner now. We've got the option to rebuild the curve, rebuild the surface, which will add more control points onto it. Okay, but we're not really needing that capability just now, so we're going to just leave it as it is. We've got other options. We could have straight sections. Okay, uniform. I'm pretty sure that means it can be flattened out. Okay, but normal is the default. So we'll click OK. So that creates our surface. Okay, and what we're going to do is something a wee bit clever, but before we do that, I just want to show you that this surface is editable. Okay, if I click on it, it's like I can't see any control points, but if we go back to the standard toolbar and tell it to show the control points, you can then see that we have this kind of three-dimensional cage that's controlling it. So if you want to try picking maybe these two control points, so if you click and hold in space, that's grabbed those two. Go to maybe a side view. I think it'll be this one for us. Okay, and then if we move those control points, okay, I'm not going to try and pick on the control point, I'm just going to pick relative to it. Can you see it's deforming the surface, giving it a kind of saddling the back of it? So really clever, really powerful. Okay, say you wanted to peel the corners outwards. If we went to the top view And if we put the grid snap on, okay, just click off and then click just this control point. Okay, so it's calling it surface point now. Okay, move that, and let's say we take this out by 2 grid positions. So it's like a peeling it out at the top. So if we do the same over here, move again, 2 grid positions, we've kept it symmetrical. Okay, the black curves are unaffected, it's just the green shape that's been twisted. It's really splayed out there. It's quite funky. Okay, we'll keep it like that, quite like that shape. Right, while we're in the top view here, what we're going to do is put a surface over the top of this. So I'm just going to draw a rectangle. I'm just going to eyeball this because we've kind of lost control of the grid. So we could use rectangle and then surface from planar curves, or you could use this component here, rectangular plane. Okay, let's put this on a different layer just so we can see it different. So I'm going to put a rectangular plane around this object. Okay, I'm just eyeballing this. I've kind of lost my grid. Okay, let's have a look in here. Did it create a surface? It doesn't appear to have. It just says a closed curve. We should have got a rectangular plane when we did that. Let's try that again. If it doesn't do it again, I'm gonna be annoyed. Well, that's better. Sure. Bizarre that it didn't do it last time, but anyway. So these two are in the same 3D space. So you see, there's a bit of a fight here for the shading. That's called an interference pattern. No need to worry about it. It's just that the two surfaces are exactly in the same plane. Okay. If it's bugging you, just use your middle mouse button and switch off the shading. Okay, so really neat command coming up. We will switch off the black layer just now. Okay, we need the white one and the green one. Oh, yeah, we do need the green one, but it's the curve that's under here that we're going to put onto this. Right, so this is a really clever command called FlowAlongSrf. FlowAlongSrf. The object to flow along is the purple curve that's lurking under here. So click on the edge and choose the curve. Enter. And then it's saying pick a base position on the base surface, which is this white one. So we're looking, let's say we choose the bottom left hand corner, near the bottom left hand corner. Okay, and the target surface is the big splayed collar here, and you pick relative to that same position. So this is kind of near the bottom left hand corner. Okay, and you see what's happened. It's pulled that shape onto here, and it's absolutely accurate. Okay, now we've still got these control points on, so let's switch them off. So control points off. Okay, now this shape can cut itself out of the green shape. So we've used this command already. It was called split. So split the green surface, enter, with the purple shape, enter. Okay, doesn't look like it, but this is now a surface that we can delete. Okay, we don't need the curves now, we can delete that as well. And if we shade this, we've got a really complicated bit of modeling there, done very easily. Okay, we've done offset curve. We haven't tried offset surface, so let's give that a go, and this is going to create of quite a complicated shape. So OffsetSrf. Okay, let's make the blue. We'll stick with the green for our 3D shapes here. So surface to offset is this one. Enter. The arrows are showing the what's called the normal direction. So if we typed in a positive number, it's going to go in that direction. If we did a negative number, it would come towards us. Alternatively, you can flip this and then use a positive number. So let's go with that. We've flipped it so it's facing this way. Distance of 1 is pretty small, so let's make it a distance of say 5. So it's going to be pretty chunky. Okay. Rounded corners. Okay. Let's see what that looks like. And solid, yes. Delete input, yes. So we'll lose the original surface. Okay, you ready? Let's go. Looks nice. Now the corners, to me, don't look very rounded, even though we did choose that. Okay. You can soften these corners. Okay, so remember we did a 5mm offset. So if we want to put a radius on these, it couldn't be more than 5. Okay, but if we wanted it on both sides, we'll be looking at, say, 2 and 2. So we'll just do a little bit of this just to show you what happens. Okay, so this is the fillet edge. Okay, fillet edge. Okay, show radius, yes, so it shows up on the screen so we can see it. Let's choose a radius of, say, 2. So it's fairly big in relation to the object. Okay, and then we just go in here and choose the edge. So you see it's chained the edge, chain edges. Okay, let's come down to here. Let's see if it'll do the whole thing. This is, this is really complicated mathematics going on here. So it's going to do a 2mm radius on all of those edges. Fingers crossed. Okay, enter. Enter when done. Ooh, it's having to think about it. Look at that. No hassle. And this is why people use Rhino, because it's reliable. It does things that you want it to do, and it does them well. We could do the same on the back here. So we've got enough left here. We've still got 3mm here to do it, so we could try the same thing again on the inside. So it was fillet edge. We'll use the same settings. So just try and get these edges. I'm just going to on purposely kind of pick them sequentially. Okay, just in case. Enter again. If we enter finally, has a good think about it. Fingers crossed. Done it. Wickedly easy for that software, but nightmarish for other software. I use AutoCAD a lot, and that would just fail straight away. It's not got the same programming behind it. Okay, so that's enough for that. That's been quite a while we've been working on that. I think we will stop at that point, and I hope you found some of that useful.